Hey, I'm Paul from VRP Rocks, and this is another My Five Favorite. And I love doing these because we get to hear exactly from the rock stars themselves what their five favorite things are. And today I've got a fantastic guest, a guitarist who plays with the band Vixen. Please welcome Britt Lightning.
Hello, thanks for having me here.
Oh, it's great to speak with you, Britt. And today you're going to bring us your five favorite guitarists. And I'm looking forward to hearing who your five favorite choices are. Now, this is not the five greatest, the five most influential, anything like that. It's your personal choice. It's your five favorite list. So let's start with your first choice on this list. Who is number one? Who are you picking first?
Okay, number one is Eddie Van Halen.
It had to be, didn't it? That goes right back to the your love of music, where it spawned from, where it began. So tell us a little bit more about why Eddie's so special to you.
Eddie's playing is like nobody else's. It's just so fluid. It's so amazing. Every time I listen to a Van Halen record, I feel like I'm hearing it for the first time because I still have that same awe when I listen to him play. It's just magic. It's like Eddie channels music. It comes through him. It's like he is just meant to do that and nothing else. And I also have to say that his stage presence and just his fun energy on stage really drew me to him as well. Like always smiling. You know, you have some guitar players that are like, more serious and mystical or yeah, they have the mystique going on, whatever. But Eddie is just so fun and enthusiastic and positive, and he's just electric. He's the most amazing guitar player in my opinion.
So did you try and take parts of his stage persona, for instance, or technical playing into your own work and your own stage presence?
I mean, yeah, I definitely, as he's the biggest influence. I mean, I try to have fun on stage. I feel like I have more fun watching somebody that's smiling and
Yeah.
jumping around and having fun than somebody that looks like they're just concentrating too much. And Eddie just had that perfect blend of virtuosity and that young, fun energy. So yeah, I do try to keep that. And I mean, I've definitely attempted to rip off a lot of his techniques, whether it comes through or not, but of course, all the tapping and everything like that, and his whammy stuff, and just his volume stuff, everything. I mean, everything he does is incredible to me. So yes, I try to emulate that the best I can.
And what's your favorite Eddie guitar lick then? Or what's the one piece that you hear and go, that's just incredible. That floors you every time.
Gosh, boy, everything, you know, everything. I feel like, I mean, I don't know. God, it's hard. I can't even pick just one. I'll just have to say Eruption just because that's what turned me on to him and caught my attention and put me on this life journey of being a musician. So I'll say that.
And that's not a bad reason at all, is it? Absolutely. That's okay. That's a great number one choice then. So who's next on your list then, Britt?
Jimi Hendrix.
Ah, lovely. So why is Jimmy getting the nod from you?
Jimmy is just so innovative and amazing. So when I first started playing, I didn't realize his genius. That's because I was just so drawn to the technical perfections of people like Eddie. And Jimmy was like more raw and not always perfect sounding.
Hmm.
So at first I was like, why is he such a big deal? He's a little sloppy sometimes. But then I just realized, whoa, he's just raw and real and it very emotive, like it's coming straight from emotions, and he doesn't always play the same thing twice, and his tone and his creativity with his sounds, and he was really groundbreaking at the time and still is. Like he's still breaking boundaries, and like they're always finding new clips of him and things like that, and just the way that he was able to communicate through music is amazing. And I mean, that Star Spangled Banner, that was like the first time I ever heard anybody do anything like that, and that's just very iconic. And yeah, he's incredible.
He certainly is. And you talk about groundbreaking because you can think of so many moments from him playing behind his head, playing with his teeth, setting fire to the guitar. I mean, everything he did just seemed to be
Yes.
just an amazing, didn't it? It was a spectacle to watch. It was just something that everyone was
A
drawn into.
spectacle, yes. Yes, a spectacle. That's what I was trying to think of, that word. Yes, exactly. Very groundbreaking.
And it was an interesting choice as well, because given your age and the fact that Eddie was an obvious inspiration for you, Jimmy obviously came a couple of decades before that, and his time was slightly different, and his style and genre of music was slightly different as well. So do you enjoy going back and listening to that kind of bluesy, psychedelic, early electric sort of sound?
Very much. Yeah, actually, I feel like I listen to that more than anything else. All the 60s and 70s stuff, definitely. Yeah, that's kind of my relaxation music when I'm just trying to get inspired and stuff like that. Has been a big influence lately.
And silly thing to say, given the fact that Jimmy's such a big star. I mean, if someone had never heard Jimi Hendrix before and asked you to point them in the right direction of and what should I listen to then to understand why you like him so much, what track would you pick out for someone to listen to?
Ooh, a track. That's a very good question. Um, hmm. Man, you're asking tough questions because these people, I just love every little thing about their entire catalog. Um, but you know, I, one of the first things I heard from Hendrix, I got to say, was Purple Haze, and um, just the sound, like the analog sound and stuff like that. That kind of caught me right away. And the way he just sings, and he's not a virtuosic singer by any means, but he has a great voice. I know that he didn't even like the sound of his voice. So that makes me like it even more because he just put it out there and it's just so real. And when he does that, it's just perfect.
Absolutely agreed. So that's your first two choices. What's the third choice then?
I would say David Gilmour, Pink Floyd.
Ah, this is interesting. You're bouncing between styles here. I like this quite a lot. So, David Gilmour,
Yeah.
obviously more on the kind of prog side of things. So why David? Why did David make your list?
You know what? My dad, who doesn't really know anything about rock music, when I started playing guitar, got was started watching like Access TV and some of these other like rock stations. And I remember he called me out of my room to say, "Hey, look at this guitar player. He's awesome. He's on TV." So I came out, and it was. I just remember watching it, being like, "Whoa, this guy's amazing!" Because with David Gilmour, I just realized he can just do one note or one bend, and it says so much, and it's not about a crazy cool tone or flangers or effects or speed or tapping and all that other stuff that I love. It was just simple and space. I really understood the importance of not playing instead of playing all the time, which is something that I'm still working on because you still, as a guitar player, get excited and want to fill every hole and do as much as you can. But sometimes pulling back and not playing and or just letting this note ring out and then taking it away, it says even more than it would if you put more notes in there. So I got really into the Wall and all the albums. I did a deep dive into Pink Floyd after seeing that, and yeah, David Gilmour's a huge influence. And to this day, seeing him when I moved to LA, the first concert I saw was David Gilmour at the Forum, and it's still one of my favorite concerts ever.
Oh, fantastic. And what sort of mix of music did he play? Did he play any of his solo stuff? Because I always liked a lot of his solo stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah, everything. A good mix of Pink Floyd solo stuff. Yeah, it was amazing.
Oh, fantastic stuff. So that's David Gilmour added to Hendrix and Eddie Van Halen. What's going to be choice number four then, Britt?
Okay, number four is going to be Randy Rhoads.
Ah, of course it is. So why was Randy so special for you then?
Randy was special. Boy, the way he blends the classical influence with rock and roll, and it's just so fiery and so unique. And I didn't know anybody else that had done that at the time. And when I heard, I mean, Ozzy's music is iconic, but I don't think it would have been so iconic without Randy. And just everything about that style is just the epitome of rock and roll. It's like heavy, cool riffs, shredding solos, but melodic. Randy had a great sense of melody and great note choices. Yeah, and so he was definitely groundbreaking with bringing in that classical style into metal and rock.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that classical background certainly helped, didn't it? And in terms of Randy's music, then, is there anything that stands out for you? Any track that really stands out for you?
I mean, I always like listening to the tribute record because that's live and it's just kind of just unedited, unlike a studio record, and you can just hear all his little idiosyncrasies and things that he does. So I studied that record.
That's great. And in terms of Randy himself, I mean, nobody has had a bad word to say about him, and that's a great reflection of the guy himself, isn't it? Not just as a player, but as a person.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah, I'm good friends with Rudy Sarzo, and he always, yeah, sometimes I get him to tell some great stories about Randy, and it always brings tears to his eyes because yeah, he was just a great friend, a great person, and you can see that too on stage when somebody's like that and the chemistry that they have with their other bandmates, and he was definitely entertaining to watch on stage too.
Absolutely. And it's a shame we lost him so young. So, Randy Rhoads is another fantastic pick on your list. So, let's find out what number five is then.
Okay, so going in the same vein from Randy, Zakk Wylde. So Zakk was a huge influence. He was actually the first rock star I ever met in person,
Oh.
and I still have my very first guitar, my purple sparkly Ibanez. I had him sign it at one of the signings at a music store, and I was so nervous to meet Zakk because I just had so many questions, and I remember writing out a list of all the things I wanted to ask him. And then when I finally got up to have him sign the guitar and say hi, I said nothing at all. I just gave him the guitar and then walked away. But now, fast forward, I work with him. He does rock camps, and I've met him quite a few times, and his playing is just, he can do this fast picking stuff, like ticka 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 ticka. He does a lot with pentatonics, but makes them sound amazing. And his squeals and his wah tone, his tone is just so recognizable. I think with all of these guitar players that I've mentioned, the most important thing is if you shut your eyes and nobody tells you what you're listening to and you just hear guitar, all of these five people that I listed, I would know instantly who they all were. And I think that's the mark of a great guitar player because they are unique and recognizable. So yeah, Zakk definitely has that. And I love all his stuff from Ozzy to Black Label Society, all his solo stuff. I just think he's just a killer player and very versatile. I mean, he does chicken picking stuff. He does everything,
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a really important point you make there. The style involved with these guys is so instantly recognizable, and you can ask them to play. I don't know, Mary Had a Little Lamb, tell them to plug their guitar in with their own
Right.
effects. And like you said, without even seeing who it was, you'd know exactly which player was playing just because of their style. So just in terms of Zakk, then, again, for someone who maybe hasn't listened to much of Zakk Wylde, what would you advise them to go and listen to experience why he's such an incredible guitar player?
I think all the early Black Label records are awesome, and and his first record with Ozzy, where he just came out of the gate. I mean, to replace Randy Rhoads, you have to bring something unique and special to the table, and I think that was a big test for him, and he comes out blazing on it.
Yeah, incredible stuff. So thank you so much for your top five list then today, Britt. It's an incredible list. Eddie Van Halen, Jimi Hendrix, Dave Gilmour, Randy Rhoads, and Zakk Wylde. So incredible guitarists that have all left their mark on the music industry and on you as well. Thank you so much for your time.